Our guest today is Willie Hooks, and we are going to be talking about the 3 obstacles that challenge or block real estate investors from being able to get all the money they need, raise all the money they need for the deals that they have. Welcome, Willie.
How you doing, Tom? Great to be here.
All right, thank you. So tell me just a little bit about your background, yourself. You do a lot of coaching. You've raised a lot of capital. If you could just share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, my background is business, and I've been in business for a number of years. And raising capital and raising money has always been a critical part of that. If you want to grow your business, you'll need financial resources. And I've coached. I'm what they call a master coach, which means I coach other coaches, I train other coaches, and I develop coaching materials for other coaches to use. And I also have worked over the last 15 years with real estate entrepreneurs, really helping real estate entrepreneurs take their business to an unbelievable level. And as you know, raising private money or private capital is an integral part of that process. And one of the tools I created to help, coaches work with people that need to raise money is I wrote a book called The Inner Game of Raising Private Money. So I've spent a lot of time working with real estate entrepreneurs, teaching them the process of how do you raise money, helping them overcome the barriers so that they can achieve all the money that they want, need, and desire.
Cool. So tell me, what are some of what is one of the biggest challenges you would say?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges that real estate entrepreneurs have, other than not seeing themselves as money raisers, is they don't see themselves as problem solvers. They can get into this interest game. I'm going to try to offer you more interest and higher returns, rather than saying, I'm a problem solver. I want to work with high net worth individuals or busy professionals or people that have financial resources that they want to increase, but what is the reason they want to increase that? So see yourself as a problem solver. So before I present my offer or my solution, I need to know, what are you trying to do? And once I understand what you're trying to do, then I'm going to show you a vehicle that can help you do that. Now, here's a great example to show you the power of shifting from I'm going to give you a greater return to I'm going to help you solve a pressing problem that you're really committed to solve. I was talking to a person, and this person had like 8 kids, and all the kids would be in college about the same time. And so the challenge was, his concern was, look, if I have these kids and all of them are in college is going to cost me $200,000. How do I get the money to get them to pay for their college education when they get to be of that age? See, I can now come in and say, you know what? I have something that might help you with that. Would you like to know more about it? See, I'm a problem solver. Rather than saying, how would you like to get 2% greater return on your money, 10%, 5%? I'm solving problems. So first thing is, see yourself as a problem solver. Understand the problem before you offer a solution. You're looking for people that they have goals, they have objectives, they have things they're trying to do. You're looking for a long-term partnership. You're not looking for someone you're going to do one deal with and then they move on. So a great way to do that is say, I'm a problem solver. I'm looking for people that are going to be on this journey with me. As I build my business, I'm going to help them move forward toward achieving their goals. In this particular case, I want to help this person get the financial resources he needs so he can send his kids to college. Somebody else's concern might be, I want to build for retirement. Someone else's concern might be, I need cash flow so that I can pay my bills. I'm going to show them how I can help them with it versus just, I'm in the return game. I'm going to give you a higher interest rate. I want a long-term relationship. I want a partnership with my investors.
And how do you do that when it's somebody, well, I guess both sides. If it's somebody you know well, it's probably easier to get that conversation to the point where you can get to the depth of really knowing what they're looking for. But for example, if you meet somebody at a social event or some sort of a networking event, how do you get that ball rolling to really get them to open up and share what it is that's really holding them back?
Yeah, you engage in the conversation. You're interested in them. Tell me, what do you do? What are you up to? Tell me about your family. What's your background? What are some of the things you're concerned about? Or you can I love to start off with something I just read in the newspaper. Gosh, man, can you believe what's happening with people's finances? That opens the door for that conversation. The interesting thing to me, and again, it's, my focus is inner game. What's going on inside your head causes most of your problems, right? So the challenge we're always facing is how we think about things. So it's the story you tell. What I'm always amazed is that we have no issue with walking up to someone and getting into a conversation around sports or around politics. But when it comes to talking to someone about what their goals are, what's their vision, what's their challenges, what are they trying to achieve, what they're up to, what are their concerns, we hesitate. The hesitation is because of the story we tell. So I say, tell yourself a different story. The person that I'm going to talk to, they want to talk about their personal life. They want to tell me what's going on with them. They want to hear what's going on with me. So it's easy for me to move into a conversation of saying, hey, do you have a family? Do you have kids? What are your kids up to? Are they into sports? What do they do? Right? What do you see for their future? What do you think about the economy and what's going on in the economy? And from there, you can move into what are you trying to do and what's your concerns in the future.
Yeah, and I think what that really does too is it takes away the feeling of being a salesperson or feeling like you really need to sell something. I remember when I early on, before I really got involved in the lending business where we did a lot of capital raising, I always had the fear of sounding like I was selling something or feeling like I was selling something. And by what I'm hearing you say, and certainly has been my experience too, is that the minute that we can take it away from ourselves and what do we want over to what the other person needs or wants, that can be really powerful.
Right. See, when you feel like you're selling something, you are selling something. And you're in this position where you feel like there's a scarcity. So I've got to close this person. I'm not trying to close everybody. What I'm trying to find is people that have a problem that they want to solve that I can help them with. And so if I'm talking to a person and I'm not getting information, we're not engaged in a conversation where he or she is understanding things about me, I go, okay, great, let me go to the next one. See, there's no scarcity. I don't have to close this person. I'm not going to present my solution until I understand their problem, until I understand that his concern is getting his kids through college, or his concern is his retirement. Think of it this way. Let's say you meet a person and you're talking to them, and one person you say, hey, I can get you a greater return on your investment. That's one level of impact. But let's say you meet this person and he has 8 young kids and he knows in 10 years they're going to be going to college and 3 or 4 of them are going to be in college at the same time. And you say to him, you know what, I understand your situation. I have something that maybe could help you pay for your kids' education. Which one would be saying, hey, when can we meet? When can we have coffee? The first one or the second one?
Right. It just leaves it so much more open, so much more inviting and non-intrusive even. So
because you're solving a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it, saying it to someone that's their concern is, wow, inflation and things like this are going on. I'm just concerned I won't have enough money when I retire. People are living longer. Well, guess what? I might have something that will help you with that. I have the same concern, and I'm doing some things for myself that I could share with you. When can we have coffee? See the power of that versus I'm trying to convince you that getting into my investment is better for you. You're a problem solver. You're not just throwing higher interest rate. You're looking for people that you can join with as they move toward building their financial resources so they can solve their problems, they will partner with you along the way. You won't just get one investment one time. They'll be saying, hey, this person is partnering with me. They understand where I'm trying to go. As I get more financial resources, I'll shift my investments from other sources into them. Because no one else is saying, let's be a partner. Everybody else is treating you like you're a number.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like you said, it's too easy to sell on price. It's sort of the Walmart or the Costco sell on price, right?
Yeah, because it's easy for people to say, I'm a salesperson. And I'm saying, no, I'm a problem solver. I'm a relationship builder. I want my investors to have a relationship with me. I want to understand what they're trying to do. We're working together so that they can achieve their financial goals, which allows them to live the lifestyle that they're trying to do. So I'm a problem solver. So the biggest issue is they don't see themselves as problem solvers. They see themselves as, I'm going to throw a higher interest rate at you. And that just is not an effective way of raising all the money you need and want.
Yeah. Okay, great. And so the problem solving is one. What's another one? If we were to say we have three primary.
Yeah, I think the other one is this, and it really ties closer to problem solving, is this fear of asking for the money. I think I have to ask for the money. And I go, no, you don't want to ask for the money. What you want to be able to do is to have a compelling conversation where the person wants to understand more about how you can help them. So anytime you have to ask for the money, you're selling. And I said, no, you don't want to ask for the money. What you want to be able to do is build rapport, have a relationship to the point where they're saying, how do I get some of this? How do I get into this? How do we do something together? So you want to move beyond that fear of asking for the money by saying, look, I'm not about asking for the money. I'm looking for a certain kind of person. I'm looking for a person that I want to do multiple deals with. I want to have I want to have them as a long-term investment partner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not just going to walk around finding people asking for money. Now, if you're dealing with like the sharks, then they just want to know what's the return. That's not who I'm looking for. I'm looking for busy professionals. I'm looking for high net worth individuals that have particular things they're trying to solve. I want to understand them. When I can present them opportunities, they will ask me if they can invest with me. So the critical thing is position yourself as value add, and then they will ask you. And think of this as multiple engagement, not just one and done. Because quite often I see real estate investors go in, they meet someone, well, I got to close them now. And I go, no, it's a multiple step process. The first step is I'm going to gather information. I'm going to build rapport, establish trust, and I'm going to gather information. I'm going to learn more about what they're doing. And then the next time I see them, I won't start off with that same level of questions. So the first time I might, what's your name? Where do you live? Do you have kids? And the next time I meet them, I'm going to say, how's Johnny doing on the swim team? So as soon as I finish talking to a potential investor, I get in my car and I write their profile up. I start to build their profile. I do my research. So the next time I meet with them, I start at a higher level up on the conversation. I might even have an article or something out of the newspaper that has a statistic in an area that I think they might be interested in. Like, man, people are living longer. Look at this. People are living longer and they're running out of money before they retire. What do you think about that? Boom. Based on their answer, I'm right into a conversation about their retirement plan.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. And this is all, of course, based on the fact that there's trust, because with any investing, one of the biggest things, well, probably the biggest thing, is trust in the person that you're dealing with, and building that trust, getting to the point of being able to share the track record, share the history, share the fact that the capacity is there for the investment to do what the goal is for the investment to do, so that there's performance and all of those things. So all of this is based on that core piece of trust that it is a good investment as well.
Yeah, and for me, all that comes later. That's the how.
Mm-hmm.
How do I do what I do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm back at I need to convince them that I care about them. See, so the level of trust I'm talking about is, are you demonstrating that you care about me and what I'm up to before you start telling me what you want? So I'm not even talking about what my offer is. I'm not talking about what the project is. I'm just talking about them. So the trust I'm building is, this is a person that cares about me. You ever met someone and you had a conversation with them and you walked away feeling good that they heard what you said, they wanted to listen to what you said, they cared about what you said, they engaged in what you said? See, I'm talking about that level of trust and rapport. I'm not going to even get into my opportunities until I know a problem.
That I love that breakdown. I mean, it's such a clear delineation, the relationship and what can be done. How can we help that person accomplish what they're looking for first, and then coming around second with a potential solution and what that solution is. So that's a.
You ever heard the saying that I can't hear what you say until I know that you care?
Yes.
So that's what I'm talking about. When you're in the problem solving business, you're anchored in, they need to understand that I hear what they say, that I'm concerned about them, and that they and what they're trying to accomplish is a primary goal. And I might have a solution to help them. I don't go, I have a solution that can help you. I might have. And then I say, I'm doing this for myself. If it happens to be in an area that I'm doing it for myself, I go, I have the same concerns about retirement, and the things I'm doing are positioning me to retire with the financial resources I need. I'd like to share that with you. It might help you. See, might help you. I'm not pushing it. This will help you. I still don't know enough about what they're trying to accomplish. Then when we get together, they'll be eager. So it goes back to, I'm not asking for money, but I say, would you like to have coffee and let me explain how this might help you? Absolutely. I never asked for the money. Then when I explain how I help them, then that's when they go, how do I get some of this? Or, no, I'm not. And I just move on to the next person.
Yeah.
So there's no scarcity. So there's a mindset that says, I've got to hammer and close this person. And I go, no. If this is not the right time for this person, move on. Because there's more than enough fish in the sea.
Yeah, and think about it when we approach someone, and I'm sure listeners have had it, where you get approached by someone and you are asked for something too early before the relationship is built. I mean, just it changes the whole dynamics of a discussion the minute that somebody feels like they're being asked for something and there's a need there versus something that can be offered as support to that person. So it throws everything off balance. The whole conversation goes off balance so quickly when even the sense of being asked is part of the equation.
Right. And again, it starts off with, when someone asks you something, the story you tell drives your response. So for example, when someone asks me, what do I do? I could tell myself the story, well, they're asking, do I do investments and am I looking to raise private money? Or I could say, I'm a father and I enjoy reading. See, your answer doesn't have to be, I'm a real estate entrepreneur and I have these projects and I'm looking for money. It might be too soon for that.
Yeah.
You are other things, but the story you tell drives what your response is. When they may just be saying, well, what do you do? Yeah, you determine how you answer that. So for example, let's say you meet a person and it's the first time you met them and they say, hey, tell me what you do. How you answer that question is based on the question, the story you tell yourself. Well, they want to know what I do as a job. Well, you could tell a different story. They want to
Yeah,
know what I do for fun. And so sometimes when people ask me, what do I do? I say, hey, let me tell you what I do for fun. Boom, boom, boom. And then I tell them. Because
absolutely.
I
Just
don't want to get into, I'm a real estate entrepreneur and I'm looking for private. It's too soon. I don't have a problem. So until I know a problem that they have, I don't even need to get into that. It doesn't add any value.
yeah, and it certainly changes the dynamics of the entire discussion. The probably the entire evening if you're at a social gathering or a networking working event, whatever it might be.
Right, right. And it changes your energy
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you shift into, well, I need to tell and sell. And
Hmm.
so then every question that they bring up, you treat it as an objection you have to overcome. But if you're just talking about them and their problems, you're trying to understand, you're trying to relate and show compassion. It's a different energy. But the moment you switch into, I've got to tell them, then I got to sell them on why this is great for them, and then why they're stupid for not seeing it. You know, they're only getting 6%. I can get them 8%. Can't they see that? And you get into that whole thing. Then I go, well, you're selling now, and you're badgering.
Mm,
I'm going to engage. So I'm engaging. I'm not telling and selling.
yeah, powerful. Do you when you are coaching people on this topic and they say, well, we should have an elevator pitch, shouldn't we? What do you what's your answer to that?
So you can have an elevator pitch, but you don't use it until you have a problem to solve.
Mm,
So for me, your elevator pitch is, how do I engage in a conversation with people so that they feel open to start sharing about what's really going on with them and what are they really trying to do? What is that elevator pitch? You know, what that to me is the one, because the first stage I'm trying to do is build a relationship.
yeah, so it really flies in the face of what some of the people talk about elevator pitches, which I think that's really refreshing because when I hear certain elevator pitches, it's like, oh shoot, what's coming next? And so I like your way of describing it. The elevator pitch really, if one has to say they have one, could be, well, what is it that you do for a living, or what are your hobbies, or being ready to answer that question in a way that opens the door to conversations, to learning about each other, rather than
Exactly.
trying to get right to the topic of whatever your goal is that you're working on. So
Yeah, and it's a different goal, right? So
mhm.
my goal is to solve problems, to connect with people and solve problems. Some real estate entrepreneurs, their goal is to try to give people a higher return. So it's a different goal, which drives different behaviors. So your assumptions drive your behaviors. See, my assumption is that I'm a problem solver and people have problems they want to solve. And if you can understand what their pressing problem is and show them a way that you can help solve it, then you'll have all the money you need, want, and desire. And you know, I've got a huge track record with coaching clients that I've worked with that went on to raise millions of dollars uh, by using that process. So an elevator pitch is great, but the elevator pitch I want is, how do you engage with someone when you meet them? What's the pitch for the first meeting and the second meeting? We're not even into how you're pitching your solution, because my pitch for my solution is going to change based on what their challenge is. Because when I'm given my having a conversation with somebody who says my priority is getting my kids' education paid for, I'm going to show them how I do that. If somebody says I'm worried about retirement, I'm going to show them how to do that. If someone says, I need cash flow, I'm going to show them how to do that.
Got it. Got it. So with that in mind, so assumption drives behavior, I just heard you say. And that really takes us to the third point, right? We have the number one was problem solver. Number two is don't ask for money. And yeah, so maybe.
And then number three is their belief structure is they have this internal phobia or fear that they're not worthy of investors, rather than seeing it as just the natural part of any business. Money is just a natural part of any business. Capital is a natural part. Any business, any opportunity you have, you're going to need to be comfortable raising money. Now, you can find out what's your level. So for example, one of the exercises I have my coaching clients do because I want to find out where's that level of, where's that psychological block? And I go, how do you feel? And I go, just visualize this. How do you feel about raising $100,000? Okay. How do you feel about raising $500,000? Getting a little warm. How do you feel about raising $1 million? How do you feel about raising 5 million? So you can actually feel the tension in your body. And I just keep going. Like some people, their tension occurs at maybe 500,000. Some clients, they don't feel the tension up until 10 million. But that tells you where your comfort zone or your belief system is around the amount of money that you feel worthy of raising. Then once I find that, then I go, okay, let's expand that. Because you cannot go, you will never raise more money than you believe you're entitled to raise. So you have to shift your belief system. So if a person is uncomfortable, their tension occurs at $500,000, I raise it up to $1 million. If that's too high, meaning it pushes them too far into panic, I bring it down and say, maybe your next step is 700,000. Some other person, I can push them, they don't panic until they get to $1.5 million. Or someone that they start to feel stressed at 10 million, I push them up, they may not panic until they get to 20. So you find out where, if you think about your comfort zone or your belief structure, where it is, there's this area called the learning or growth is the next step. Too far you into panic. And so I try to find out where the panic is, then I back them off to where they're stretching, but they're not panicking. Then we start to use visualizations to stretch that belief, because it's all a mental game. You can raise 10, I work with people that's raised $100 million and they feel really comfortable with it. It's like no big deal. But they started off at, 100, then pushed them up, things like that. So I use visualization to reprogram them so they now feel comfortable going for the next level. Once that next level locks in, then we go back through the process, which could be a year later or 6 months later, and push it up again.
I see. That makes a lot of sense. That really, it's about stretching outside the comfort zone, but not too far, but always pushing it.
Right. Because so we need our beliefs. So if you think about a comfort zone is not a problem until you want to take the next step. You take the next step, you have to lock that step in. You create a new comfort zone, then you take another step and expand it. So don't think of comfort zones as bad. Just say, I need to continually change my comfort zone and keep moving it.
Right.
So it's a great way. It's kind of, think of it like a ladder where you got to get on the first rung before you can get to the next rung. And then you kind of stabilize yourself, then you go to the next rung. If you try to move too fast up a ladder, you'll fall. So comfort zones are actually a good thing, except if you say, this is where I want to live. So you imagine the ladder, you get on the first step and you settle, then you get on the next step and you settle. then you move up and you settle. If you try to move too fast, you'll fall. So same thing with comfort zones. You just say, hey, comfort zones are great placeholders that
Hmm.
I need until I stabilize, and then I move up to the next level, stabilize, then I move up to the level. So another way to think of it is we're always freezing. So to make progress towards your goal, you need to freeze at the next level, then unfreeze and move up a little bit out of your comfort zone, but not in the panic, then freeze again, get some results, then unfreeze to move to the next freeze, unfreeze, freeze, unfreeze.
Hmm. And eventually it just, over time, it all expands to where it's all a lot more comfortable.
Right, right. And so you become comfortable with what? Growing. See, we are
Yeah.
comfortable with staying the same. And I go, no, you want to be comfortable with changing
Yeah.
because you got to continually move forward. And so you're going to be in a continual state of change, and that becomes the norm for you.
Yeah. And the one thing that I've come to realize is that, and I think it probably was from your coaching, was that it's okay to be uncomfortable too. I mean, to be uncomfortable is not a bad thing.
Right, right. Yeah,
You
being
still,
uncomfortable is a part of the journey.
hmm, yeah. So accepting it as something that's not bad. It's not necessarily fun or easy all the time, but if it's looked at as a positive of the potential of moving forward, then the uncomfortableness of it is just, it's just another thing. It's not a bad thing, right?
Yeah, so fear and stress are a warning device that's telling you you're getting ready to do something that is different for you. That's all it's telling you. It's not necessarily telling you you're doing something dangerous, although you could be doing something dangerous, and it's great at that. But most of the time, the tension and the fear we feel when we're trying to do something new is just our system saying, hey, Willie, you're getting ready to do something that's not like you. You know, you're getting ready to try to raise $1 million when you're really $500,000 person, or you're getting ready to try to raise $20 million when you're really a $10 million person. So I'm gonna let you know that by sending you stress signals, fear signals, so that you can say, well, do I want to push through that?
Yeah.
So it's
Nice.
just you moving away from your current identity, and it's just warning you. You know, like, do you really want to drive your car this fast? Like you start driving and you get to a certain speed and you start to feel tension. Stress will come in and fear will come in to say, be aware, you're getting ready to do something that's not you.
Mm.
That's all it is. So it is a friend, and you just got to say, well, thanks for sharing. I'm going to go and raise $1 million anyway. Or thanks for sharing. I'm going to go raise $10 million anyway, because it's all a mental construct. You have the capability to raise 10 million, 100 million, all the money you need, want, and desire. You just have to keep adjusting your belief system and pushing out of your comfort zone and saying, thank you for sharing. When you feel those stress and fear kind of response that comes up, it's just natural fight or flight when you step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Very cool. Now you have a book, and there's a spot in your book where you tell the story, and it really it takes in all three of these points. The story of you being on the flight and talking to someone next to you, and that one really rung true for me because I had almost the identical experience, except mine was with apartment buildings. Yours was with just raising capital in general. Could you just briefly share that story, just as an example of exactly what we're talking about here?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because when you meet people, is what is the story? So I was on this flight and sitting with this family, and I started to have a discussion. Well, you could have the discussion around, I can get you a better return, or you can start to understand their challenges. As you understand their challenges, with their kids and what they're trying to create in their life, what do they want to do? then you can come back and say, guess what? I have a solution. So by the time we got to where we were going, they are very interested in saying, hey, how do we meet up and continue this conversation? Be very interested in hearing how you might be able to help us.
Yeah, and it was done. It was done in a way, just like you said, starting out with learning about each other. You talked about their family, got to learn what it was that what were their aspirations, what were they looking for, what were the possibilities, and then over time, through the discussion towards the end, you were able to share that, yeah, by the way, this is what I do because I like it because of this and this and that, whatever it was.
Right.
And you just, it never got to the point of anything other than a well-intended conversation where you got to learn more and they became interested in more of what you were doing.
Yeah, when I work with I do what I call these VIP days where I bring a investor in and I work with them and working with them on this process because I want them to leave with a different mindset around raising money, raising private capital, is that you want the story to unfold. You want the relationship to unfold. You're not there trying to tell and sell. You're there to engage. You want to really understand what the person or the family are trying to do. And then you talk about how you can help them. And, I had this one guy came in and we see, he came in knowing all the process for raising money, but he thought it was about selling. And I go, no, you need to find the solutions. You need to find the problems, then offer a solution. And so, he worked with me and then he hadn't raised much money at all. Then after spending that weekend with me, he went from next to zero to $500,000 in a very short period of time, then to $1 million, then to 5 million. Then probably over the period of about 2 years, he was up to raising somewhere around 10 million.
And the success always builds more confidence, and
Right.
the confidence builds more success.
And the people that he worked with, see, everybody would say, well, I got X, I want to invest. But as you build the relationship with them and they see that they're making progress toward their goals, they find other investment resources they have and they start shifting them to you because you are doing something that other investors don't do. You're working with them and showing them how they're making progress toward their goals. And that becomes kind of how you build that ongoing relationship. Then guess what they're trying to do? Then they start to enroll other people to say, I'm working with Willie and he's helping me pay for my kids' college education or my retirement. They find other people that have that same concern and they start coming to you saying, hey, I understand that you're helping John build his educational fund or their retirement fund. Would you like to, when can we talk about how you can help me? See, it's a different conversation than people. I don't want people running around and say, oh, I work with Willie and he got me 2% more than I would have got. I don't want that. I want people that saying, I'm helping them build the lifestyle they want.
Got it.
Because that's what I do. The story I tell is that's my business. That's my passion. That's what I'm about.
And your book, if people are interested in your book, or if they want to reach out to you with anything about coaching or mentoring or anything like that, how would they reach you?
Well, you can put my contact information up. If they want to get my book, it's on Amazon.
Okay.
Easiest, fastest way is just go to Amazon, or if they want to contact me, just reach out to me at the link you'll put up.
Okay.
Put my email address up. But the fastest way to get the book is just go to Amazon. And the book is a tool because it's going to take you through the stages of how you shift your mindset so that you can go and execute on what you already know. Remember, the challenge that people have is not that they don't know enough. The challenge is they're not executing using what they know. And so the book is designed as a workbook to take you through the steps of understanding where the blocks are. And here's some tools to help you get over the blocks so you'll be able to raise all the private money you need, want, and desire.
Got it. And the name of the book, I have it right up there, Raising Private Money.
Yeah, it's the inner game of raising private money.
Okay. Got it. Okay, great. And so to wrap it up, we have the three things. One is problem solver, be a problem solver. Next is don't ask for the money. And the third is it's all around beliefs. And with that, Willie, as we wrap it up here, any final thought that you would give to our listeners as either what they can walk away with and practice, any final words of wisdom?
Certainly practice the 3 steps, become a problem solver, build enough value so you don't have to ask for the money, shift your belief, and probably the final one is start telling different stories. When you meet people, you get to make up the story you tell. So don't just assume every time somebody says, tell me about yourself, what are you doing? You got to go, this is my business and this is what I do. No, you get to tell the story you want to tell. And I'm saying, tell the story that leads you into a conversation about them. I very quickly turned it back to, rather than going on and spending a lot of time about me, I very quickly turn it back to them, because that's what I want to do. I want to understand them.
All right. Great. Well, this has been great. Thank you very much, Willie.